But you don't have to use the word shall, do you, Aida?
Oh, I have to sometimes. And then now you have the independent clause at the beginning, and then dependent clause is after. Do we use a comma or we don't?
No, we don't.
We don't. There is no comma.
Give me an example of one of those sentences.
I bought lunch and ate
Ate quickly?
it.
So you don't need it.
And there's no subject. It's understood that I am the one eating it. So it's silent. And it's dependent because and ate it depends from the first one, the complete clause, the independent one that has a complete sentence.
Okay, that makes sense.
So dependent always has either a verb or it might have, it's something that cannot stand on its own. That's why it has the word dependent. Independent is a complete sentence that you read it and you don't question yourself, so what? It stands on its own. So whenever we're writing that we start with a dependent clause and we follow with an independent, and you're using any of these conjunctions, fanboys, you have to use a comma. If you're writing the sentence that is on its own and that is independent clause, and then the next statement that you have that is joined by any of these conjunctions, there is no subject, it cannot stand, remember that a dependent clause cannot stand on its own, you will not have the comma. And then if you have two independent clauses, the punctuation is that you will use a semicolon because both sentences stands on their own. But the key thing is to memorize these.
What
there
about
are times that I see sentences that we have, there's no subject, and we have the word and, because we like to mention the word and a lot when we write, and there's a comma. But if we put that comma, it doesn't, the next sentence is dependent, so it's hard to know what is it that the person is saying. When we see the sentence, one trick that I learned is look at the comma and then look at what follows behind that. If it stands on its own and you have any of these, you put the comma. If you read the sentence after and it cannot stand on its own and it has any of these, then you won't use a comma. A comma, keep in mind that it's telling you as a reader that you have to put a pause.
Okay.
I learned the rule that with a period you pause 4 seconds, with a comma you pause 2 seconds when you're reading. I don't know who created that in Canada.
What about semicolon?
A semicolon is about 1 minute. No, 1 minute.
1 minute?
1 second.
It's a hell of a pause. Jimmy likes that, doesn't
Well, it's
he?
about 1 second. But if you're reading, at least that's when I was growing up reading, the teacher will tell us count in your mind 4 seconds for a period, and for a comma 2 seconds, and for a semicolon 1 second.
So I gotta admit, I'm taping all this. This is gold, man. I don't know any of this stuff. This is great.